This show is a production of the Best in Tabletop Network. Be your best in every aspect of your game. Find us wherever you find your podcasts, or check us out on YouTube for more Bat Reps podcasts and shows. If you like what we're doing, you can join our Discord through the Best in Tabletop Patreon group or our YouTube members only area, where you'll get access to our entire library of content. Thank you for listening.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to 40k Fight Club episode 17. This episode is titled Fixing the Tyranid Stranglehold. I am your host, Innes, and I am joined, as always, by, well, as I say as always, as if that's not a thing that's been changing constantly, Anthony and Nathan. Hello, you two. How are we doing?
Hello. I am back. I have made it out of the other side of all the work and all the life stuff, and I am returned this week.
I'm doing good, too. I don't have nearly as much stuff going on, and I've been on, I think, pretty much all but one episode. I think I missed just the one now.
Yeah. You were kind of busy that day, so.
Just a titch. A tad.
A titch.
I think I've missed one and been told I wasn't welcome on one.
Yeah,
you go to sleep.
You got seconded on one for sure. We sent you to the Death Watch. We were like, go to bed.
You're like, Innes, you look paler than usual. You need to sleep.
Yeah.
And I did, and it was good.
He actually glowed. He was the same amount of visibility in that room right now, but the light was off. It was wild.
He was starting to blend into the walls behind him. It was like camouflage.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anyway, this is 40k Fight Club, our weekly show where we talk about all things competitive 40k from the last weekend, and by all things I mean event results. Not all things at all.
Not even close.
Not even close to all things. In fact, if you want all things, go somewhere else. We are only here to talk about the things we find interesting. The fact that other people find that interesting is a constant source of amusement and amazement to me. But thank you all for being here anyway. This week we're going to be covering some GTs and majors. I believe there were three majors and 5 GTs that hit our coverage threshold. We are going to be trying out a slightly new format on the GT coverage, which we will cover when we get there. So please do look forward to that, because we're still working on the show, obviously. We're only, as much as it feels like we've been going for a long time on my perspective, we've only been going for 4.5 months now. And we're still working on our formula, and we're going to try and settle into a way that we find interesting, particularly from last week, where we had something in the region of 12 events to cover. We ended up doing a lot of time on covering top 4s, and we didn't find that super interesting. And that's not kind of the content we're looking to bring. So when we get to that, paring down our coverage of GT events specifically, so look forward to that. On top of that, we're going to be doing our usual stats coverage and our meta-analysis breakdown talk, where the three of us just go through what the last few weeks have been, what we expect to change, what's proving interesting. All the stuff people come to the show for, which is why we're trimming down the stats section. Not the stats section, the results section, because we want to do more of that, because that's the stuff only we can do. Anybody can look at the top 4s on BCP. So we kind of figured now's the time. So let's do the easy intro bit. How was your last, I'll say, 2 weeks in 40k for Anthony, and last week for the two of us?
Who goes first?
Nathan, would you like to kick us off?
Sure. I've mostly just been practicing for the Best in Tabletop Open, which will be next week. Oh, geez. Man, that's approaching really fast. So I'll be playing in the Best in Tabletop Open, which is next weekend in Pacoima, Washington, which is a city whose name I'm not sure how to pronounce. I'll be there with Anthony, which will be fun. I think that's the first time I'm going to meet Anthony in person, which will be a blast. So I've played a couple games Tau, and then I've played a couple games against Thousand Suns and Chaos Knights now over the last week, which has been good. Kind of working out my favorite pieces of the Tyranid list. That's basically just Innes's list, but without Carnifexes, essentially. And the best part was dropping in a Tyrannocyte full of Pyrovores and killing a Tau Empire commander in turn 1. That was great. That was a blast.
So good. I'm so proud of you.
It made me so happy. And then he killed all the Pyrovores, and I was like, oh no, 180 points. My life is over.
Yeah, those things are a little too cheap.
You fixed the problem I had with them, is that it was hard to be kind of aggressive with them because they're so slow, and then you fix that with a giant pod made of meat.
Yeah, and then you give it synapse and you make it have transhuman, then people are really confused as to why the giant meat bag is still alive after a shooting phase.
Yeah, moving
It does
around.
more damage than my Carnifexes sometimes. It's just like, yeah, I've hit 6 times and you filled a bunch of saves, man. It's death spitters, bro.
Yeah.
It's actually it's not a fish fry, it's a barbecue, because Tower Cow, Zach the Bird in chat, who said it's a fish fry for pyrovores.
Mm.
I also think technically Pyrovores fire acid, so it would be more like when you age steak with it, like you put like lemon juice on it and stuff like that, till you have the acid break
Oh.
down. So it's
When they glow this much, does it matter if it's fire or if it's acid?
Yeah.
I don't know. All I know is it's probably acidic or based.
Yeah.
True. Other than that, it's been pretty good. I have to go dress up in fancy clothes this weekend, so I'm kind of just gearing up for that.
Ooh.
I know.
Was it your graduation?
Yeah, I get to wear all of the most uncomfortable clothing. So if you remember that like thin little thing you wore at like college graduation,
Mhm.
this is like a whole
I don't
wool.
remember that, but
This is a whole wool affair. So it'll be hot and miserable. And
you get to dress like a wizard.
I do. I get to dress like a wizard. I even have a little wizard hat that I get to wear.
More like a wizard.
But then
Yeah.
they put like a wizard hood on you too. Like that's the graduation ceremony, is your professor puts a hood on you.
Ah, well, we're in the north.
Moving on.
Fine.
Moving on from wizardry.
Anthony, how was your last 2 weeks besides taking
My-
a brief sabbatical?
Yeah, my brief sabbatical was hectic but good. My last weekend was great. I got to play a bunch of 40K with the rest of my Team USA compatriots, so that was really cool. We got a practice weekend together. I got to meet some folks for the first time, namely Brandon Grant, who is an absolute gentleman. I really enjoyed spending time with him. Yeah, got to play a bunch of games. That was really cool. I got to play Blood Angels on WTC terrain, which is a lot more fun than on the nonsense we call US terrain. As it turns out, being able to be in dense or in cover or hiding, pretty sweet. That was also, we like did this thing where I had to play a bunch of like knights and stuff first. So by the time I got to the angels, I was real tired of not having the breachable keyword. And then I got to both have breachable and fly. And I was like, yeah, this is it. Never playing knights again, by the way. It was a good feeling. Solid 10 out of 10. Would recommend everything to have the fly and infantry keyword. That is pretty good. Also,
Yeah,
14
I've been playing Tyranid. It's great.
Yeah. Turns out 14 is actually a pretty specific movement length on a lot of the WTC boards for going between ruin to ruin as well. Like 12 doesn't quite get you behind the wall. It puts you in that like weird alcove on the edge of it where you still get lit up for free if they go down the side. But 14, as it turns out, gets you in there and then you're a safe boy. So that's fun. Yeah, looking forward to playing them more. I didn't get to announce this because it wasn't on last week. That poll ended. Blood Angels destroyed Chaos Knights in the like last couple days. Apparently, everyone that plays Blood Angels, all of them together, came out and voted because Blood Angels won by like 50 votes. So I'm going to be playing Blood Angels at the Best in Tabletop Open, and
I'm sure you're heartbroken about that.
I'm just so sad, just really depressed that I have to play into a meta that's definitely sleeping on Blood Angels and in no way, shape, or form is prepared for this. I'm actually really excited because even Nathan has no reps against them yet, so he's going to find out.
You don't need reps against Blood Angels with Tyranids.
No, you don't need them at all. Definitely no reps required. It's an unlosable matchup. Just ask Tyler. Anyway, keeping it moving.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking from my perspective, absolutely, yes, it is.
All right.
Okay, now we're finished destroying our editor. Who will make you sound very silly.
Moving on. So I'm really excited to play. This weekend is ACO where I'm playing mids for the last time for the season. So that is going to be my last hurrah with this army that I got painted really pretty and enjoy. And then they go right back into the no box. So
which 2 rounds are you losing your games?
The goal is to lose it in 5 and then the top 8. That's the hope.
So not 2 and 4 then.
No, not 2 and 4.
Again.
It's getting better. At MCM, it was 3 and 6. It was the heartbreaker, right at the end. But we'll see. Hopefully this time we can manage at least a 5-1 and we can limp ourselves into the top 8 with some hundreds.
I believe in you.
Someone has to.
I also believe in you. So that's 2 people. That's 2 whole people who believe in you.
How many
Woo!
Screamer Killers did you bring this time?
0. We learned.
There you go. Sorry, he's got it.
Yeah, I got it now.
that was it. He's taking off the training weights.
Yeah, sometimes you have to just not practice enough for an event, not listen to your friend that's really good at the faction, try it yourself, fail, and then go again. That's what it takes sometimes.
Fair enough. I will briefly touch on my week because it's actually been a really quiet one for me. I have been taking a bit of a week off for 40K, which doesn't really happen. I've been doing all like the admin-y stuff that I have to do behind the scenes because that never ends, like planning hotels and booking flights and dealing with all the nonsense stuff that comes with being a 40K player that wants to do events. But actually playing 40K, I haven't since my last event, which was like 10 days ago, and it's been all right. I took a day off. I played a game with one of my teammates, and we played Star Wars Legion instead. And you know what? It was all right. It was pretty fun. I got to run Darth Vader at people.
It's really all you need in life is to run Darth Vader at people.
How cool was Darth Vader?
Okay, so I played him really, really wrong. And did this thing where instead of having 7 wounds, I had him have 6, and then I also let him do a wound to me with the power that can't do wounds to him, because you can't use it on like HQ characters. So I played my Darth Vader with 5 wounds instead of 7, and he ate shit to Count Dooku.
That seems sad.
Yeah, it would have been really cool if he'd been alive. But
the only time I've ever watched someone play Star Wars Legion, some dude went first with Darth Vader, did something that teleported Darth Vader into them and killed everybody he was in contact with, and then the 2 players shook hands and the game was over. And I was like, "Oh, that's powerful."
I did do that. So I did do that. I used Vader's advanced deploy ability, deployed him full 10 inches away from him, moved Darth Vader up, used his ability to grab a droid, dragged him towards Darth Vader, put a wound on him, charged him, cut them in half, and it's like, I get to move your models. This is cool.
That seems bad. Yeah, pull mechanics are always the worst in player versus player games.
Yeah, what if I just got to move your stuff? It's like having Lasher Submission back, for those of you who remember 5th edition.
That's before my time.
Yeah, Lasher Submission was a Slaneshi psychic power. They let you just make a 6-inch move with an enemy's unit.
Fair. It'd be cool if all that work I put into putting those things over there would just go away.
That
would be really cool
be,
if blast templates existed.
That would be so wrong in the current times. I mean, I'm sure it was then, but
yeah, it was the best thing in the game by a decent margin.
Yeah.
I love it.
Right.
If there's anything I want back from 5th edition, it's just that, because that sounds like just hilarious.
I don't want to let some people touch my models.
I would let them move them. I'd be like, here's 6 inches. Can you move all your stuff over
just
here?
off the objective, please?
Yeah. Clear out that area.
Okay, let us move on. So let's do the shilling bit, because I have to. I make it sound so pleasant, don't I? So if you are here in the live stream, thank you very much for joining us. We really do appreciate everybody who's here. If you're not on the live stream, you're listening on a podcast app or anything like that, watching on YouTube, thank you. Do remember there is a live stream of this. It goes live at 11 p.m. GMT, or whatever the British time is at the moment, on Tuesdays, and in time zones, US.
5:00 p.m. Central Standard Time.
And 6 Eastern.
Which is 3
p.m.
3 p.m. Pacific. There we go. We get there in the end. I should write this down, or in any way remember this. No. We go live there. You can catch the main show there, and you will also, if you're watching the live stream, catch the bonus round. If you are not watching the live stream and you would like to catch the bonus round, you could do that by becoming a member on YouTube, which is youtube.com/c/bestintabletop. That where you can pay a small fee, and then you get access to all of the content that's behind the wall, so to say, in Best in Tabletop Network. So that'll get you the second half of Chasing the Narrative, gets you a bunch of battle reports, it gets you the second half of our show, which is, as many people would say, the best part of the show. And we don't do that deliberately. We're just so much better when I'm tireder.
We'll see how much it suffers this week from it being earlier.
Suffers. And then finally, if you would like to support the show more directly, you can join the Patreon at patreon.com/bestintabletop. That gets you access to the Discord, where you can ask things like live questions. So we take questions from the live chat, but we also take questions from the Discord. If you're not able to be on the live chat, that is the best way to get in touch with us specifically. You also get to have some wonderful conversations. We've been chatting about the WTC pairings today. I've been chatting about a bunch of other stuff. It's been good fun. WC pairings, very stressful, by the way. You should go and find those and find out how terrified your country is of whoever's their pool 1 seed.
Shaking.
Okay, let's move on. You are the pool 1 seed. It doesn't count.
I'm not. The historical past of those that came before me is. I'm just present now.
Okay, let us move on and let Nathan talk about the thing that he has so clearly been itching to do. How have the stats been this week?
No, I refuse.
Okay, so top force.
So, I mean, the thing is, since Tyranids haven't been touched yet, the stats are kind of the same. Tyranids, Harlequins, despite being dead, are also pretending to be very much alive. And then both Craft Rolled Eldar and Souped Eldar are doing really well still. Tau Empire is still doing great. Custodian's still doing really good. I mean, I'll run down the win percentages and then we'll talk top fours, meta overrep, and some stuff like that in just a second. But for just this weekend, we're looking at Tyranids on top at 68.1% win rate, which gives them a maintained since May 68% win rate. Since the beginning of May. I heard somebody talking recently about how Tyranids have won half of the GTs that happened in May, which, you know, that's just a few events, just half of the GT sized events in May. Right behind them is a totally dead faction that we don't even need to talk about, but it's Harlequins, who are at 62.7%. But dead.
DW killed them.
I know, they're totally dead. Right behind Harlequins is Craft World Eldar, who are at 58.8%. Then you have Tau Empire at 55. Imperial Knights bouncing back from their preview week, where they were in like the high 30s, low 40s, to be at 51.7.
And then we have figure out that codex, it's going to get out of hand in a hurry.
Yeah. And then we have Custodes at 55.3. And then the biggest surprise, though, is Adeptus Mechanicus having kind of a competitive renaissance for themselves, apparently, even though it was only 5 players.
Still counts.
52.1%. They broke positive for the first time in like a month, essentially.
Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I'd bet any amount of money that's not what shows up from the AdMech players as their win rate last week. They're going to be like, this was an aberration. Our army's terrible.
Yeah, I posted on Reddit that like they're better than people think they are. They've just been abandoned by their player base, and they were like, no, you're just wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Chaos, just to talk about Chaos Knights real quickly, they did drop from their first week, so they're at 45.1%. So they dropped from their like 58% or something last week down to 45. And then the Sisters Curse finally came through, and Sisters dropped to 43.2% for the week.
Congratulations, Sisters, for winning at the Valley City Open.
Yeah. Great work on being the third best army in the game and having the most inconsistent win rate of anything I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's something.
Hey, come on, they're not third.
They're pretty close.
We're talking about since the beginning of May. They're the 5th best faction in the game, 4th by win rate. If you don't count Eldari, who only have like 28 players.
Which I don't.
Yeah, so I don't either. So Tyranids are, like I said, maintained a 68.1% win rate over the entire month of May and last weekend. Harlequins are at 64.4, but totally dead.
Totally dead.
Craft World Eldar 56.5, and then Sisters are at 53.5. Tau is at 52.8. Custodes is at 52. Drukhari is at 51. And then everything after that is basically under 50%.
I can't believe Drukhari and Custodes are still maintaining positive win rates in this meta. It's honestly terrifying.
Drukhari's really earning it.
Yeah. It's just like, okay, what if we, like every faction that's worse than us, we destroy? And that is our entire win rate.
That's it. That's all we got. We got 20 O's against not better, and everything that came out after us, we get just dunked.
That would actually be an interesting question to look at in the Tableau, because I think you can do that. You can pull out just the Drukhari win rate into non. Well, we can talk about it later in faction v faction data if we want. Let's do that. At the very bottom, when we remove all of these Space Marines players who I don't care about because you're all sub factions of the same book.
Oh, I've got him saying it now as well.
That includes the Blood Angels, who are also in here in the bottom. But Adeptus Mechanicus is the worst faction in the game that is not Space Marines. We're at 36.1 for May. After that, it's Astra Militarum coming up second to last at 36.6. So just a whole half a percentage point out of last place for Astra Militarum, who hopefully are looking to get a lot better. I know people probably saw their model range, so I'm at least really excited. I have a Lehman Russ over here that I'm starting to work on for my Astra Militarum project. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to having fun and making pew pew noises with tanks, even if they're terrible.
Follow the content creators, people. Buy what they buy. Sometimes
No.
That's Nathan. Nathan's a content creator. Now.
Please sell me your Lehman Russes so that I can buy them for cheaper.
No, yeah, you're missing the point. You're going to get the new round Lehman Russes in a couple of months.
Oh, round ones. Yeah, sorry.
Round 7.
They have legs. Yeah, they walk. And then we'll talk about basically T-Whip for this last weekend. Yeah, did you like the
the international symbol for they have legs?
That's the minute cut.
The things on the end of your arms, legs.
Yeah, legs.
I don't know. I couldn't think. I can't jump up onto the screen so you can see my legs in it.
Much funnier if you just jump into a squat on camera.
I have complete sidebar. I have done that during pairings. I was pairing. We were pairing against Chris at a format teams event in Scotland. I spun the chair around, stood up, and just squatted on it and did pairings like that the entire time.
So what I thought you meant was that you ninja leapt from sitting to on a table. No. And I was like, I would immediately concede if a man your size did that against me. I would just be like, I'm out. We lose. No one should be able to do that.
Okay, I'm gonna start working on that just for you. We pair in round 7.
And this is gonna do only box jumps. So that
squats. No, I'm just gonna start with squats until I can do that.
Yeah.
Legs is steel. Legs.
Legs.
Look, dude.
Your arms are only glorified legs because you don't use them to run anywhere.
No, you don't.
You don't either.
I have a PhD in biology.
You've never seen me run.
Do you want to argue?
Very few humans on Earth have ever seen me run. Did you know?
I've seen Innes crawl his way out of a pub, I'm sure. It's just a common picture.
That's as close as he gets to running is crawling.
That's as close as his arms get to be legs, too. All right.
That's what you're going for now.
Yeah, thank you.
Stats.
T-Whip.
The show.
Yeah. Not really T-Whip, but overrepresentation.
I think that'll be our Instagram segment. Can we write that down?
What minute are we at? 22. It'll be 20 minutes to 22 minutes. And go write that down somewhere. We can send that to somebody and they can put it in there and everybody will be very confused. All right, let me pull up the image. All right. So it's not T-Whip, it's overrepresentation is what I like to call it because it's a ratio and it's not T-Whip because T-Whip is copywritten or some such. In the last weekend, Tyranids had 22 top 10s, 11 top 4s, and won 5 out of the 8 events that we were tracking for the purposes of stats. That's a cool. I don't know. How did they lose 3?
I'm embarrassed for my compatriots.
I know. They won 62.5% of events, essentially. They were 12.3% of the meta, and they had top 4s at 2.8 for overrepresentation ratio. So they're almost 3 times more represented than they should be. And that's even at a 12% rep. So they're about 34-ish right now.
Yeah. About a third of the meta at the top level.
There's so much more of the upper part of the meta than Harlequins were, even though the Harlequins individual one number was.
Yeah, Harlequins were 5 times overrepresented, but because the 4 of them were doing insane.
Yeah.
Well, there was that one moment where Harlequins hit 8% or something of the meta, and then it cratered after the nerf.
Yeah, there was 1 week where it was oh no, these guys are just everywhere.
Now Harlequins are back to still 3%, which is triple where they were beforehand.
I can't believe GW just murdered that faction.
And just put them all into the dirt.
So if you want to tell your local Harlequins player, just ask them how firing multiple neurodisruptors works. and see if they break.
All right. Craft World Eldar is the second best performing faction of the weekend. They had 14 top 10s, 4 top 4s, but they didn't win any GTs. It's just through sheer massive numbers of placing into the top 10 that they're in second place. And they had an overrepresentation about 1.22, so that means they're roughly balanced as is. But I know that
You
somebody's
have to
getting
remember,
mad at me
Eldar
on
and Hail
doing
of Doom
that.
are different factions, guys.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Then I wish I had a way. I probably could. We'll look at it a little bit later when we get into the faction v faction data. We'll pull out some of that sub faction data again. We can look at it. Tower in third. They went 10 for top 10s, 5 for top 4s, and they won 2 events over the weekend. So they're doing just fine. They're at a 1.6.
Tower's still really good.
How good would they be if they like didn't have crisis suits?
Not as good.
It's not a question. We're not living in that world until next month.
Yeah. Later this month.
I was
Which
just
is
broadly
June.
curious. I don't know when that would happen, but
Eventually. Maybe the 25th of June.
25th of what?
I don't know. A month.
anyway,
They're at a 1.67 for overrep. For this week's data, I folded all of the Marines into one super faction to see how they would do
that's
and if
right.
they qualified. So I love this data because it's amazing. So there were 5 Marine top 10s. Most of them were Black Templars, 2 top 4s, and then 1 GT winner. So that's how they got up so high in the rankings. But they have a overrep of 0.42, which means there's half as many of them in the top 4 as there should be. So good job, Marine players. You're really
Well done, Nassim.
you're helping balance the world out.
Yeah, that's Forcini coming in strong there.
And then after that, we'll just run through this really quickly. You have Sisters who are 4 top 10s, 2 top 4s at a ratio of 1.47. And then the other funny stat for the week is Imperial Knights, who had 3 top 10s, 1 top 4, and had a representation ratio of 0.56, where they're not really doing super great, but they're doing okay. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see nerfs to other factions. If you don't see the numbers for Chaos Knights, who went 4-1, so 4 top 10s and 1 top 4, would also kind of get a bump from that situation. All right. And then everybody wants to hear faction v faction data, so that's what I'm going to pull up. All right, faction v faction. We'll start at the beginning of May. I'm just going to grab time. All right, so what faction do we want to look at and how they do into whom?
Drakari versus everything that's not Tyranids, Tau, and Eldar.
Custodes.
All right, so
No,
Drakari.
Just Tau, Eldar, and Tyranids, like, and Harlequins. The top
Right.
3/4 with Harlequins.
And so Drakari will have a 70% win rate into Sisters. They have a 55% win rate into Custodes, just to include it. They actually have a 71% win rate into Eldari, which is Eldar Soup. Funnily enough, they have a 50% win rate into Astra Militarum. Their bad matchups are essentially
games.
Their bad matchups are into Craft World Eldar, Death Watch, Gene Stealer Cult, Harlequins, Chaos Knights, and Tyranids.
There are some days where I consider picking up a faction again just to be like, what are you guys doing?
Yep.
That was me with White Scars the entirety of the beginning of 9th edition. I'm like, how is nobody winning with these? They're so fast.
Yeah.
They do have a 100% win rate into Adeptus Mechanicus.
Oh, good for them. good for them. Wow. They sure can beat up on the kid in the corner of the playground.
And they do beat up on pretty much every other faction.
What's the win rate into generic Marines?
I don't have this folded together because it's sub-faction data, unfortunately. And
What's the best Marine faction into them that isn't Death Watch?
Oh, the funny thing is I have to read this like sideways. So
Oops.
It's okay. No, I'm so mad at you. Just so upset.
Yeah. You'll get used to that.
I mean, I guess
you're gonna live with me for a week, so you better get used to it.
Iron Hands have a 50% win rate, so it's a coin flip matchup.
That seems reasonable.
And then White Scars are a coin flip as well.
That's surprising.
Go fast, juice.
Yeah.
It's funny because every time a Marine player comes close to me, I hug them real hard with Drakari, and then they die.
Yeah, they definitely get death by snoo when they get too close.
This is why you just shoot them with contemptors. I don't know why everybody's struggling with this.
That works as Iron Hands, not so great as everybody else.
There are other Space Marine factions.
Well,
I'm going to tell people that Craft World Eldar are only held back essentially by their bad matchup into 2 factions. And that's
which is
Harlequins and Tyranids.
And pregame, where some of them pick not Hail of Doom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That was the other question we wanted to answer today, right? Let's go to it. Let's do this. Let's have some fun.
Eldar have a really rough turn 0 when you don't pick Hail of Doom.
We're going to do all dates, and let's go to our friends, the Craft World Eldar.
they definitely get beat up in the battle scribe phase sometimes.
Yeah, the battle scribe phase is the worst phase. So we still have them here where we have...
It's worth asking if the GW app actually allows you to pick Hail of Doom. That might be causing problems. But if it doesn't have sub-faction choices for custom sub-faction...
There's somewhat decent odds that there isn't, so...
All right, we're going to pull up the Tableau, actually, because I think that's actually fully updated. Give me just a second.
Hell yeah, let's go Cliff and Curie.
Yeah, we're going to go, because we're going to go take a look at some of Cliff's wonderful Tableau data. As soon as I can find it. So you guys vamp for a second while I dig this out of the internet.
Yeah, okay. Tyranids or Hail of Doom? What's actually more cooked?
Nids, because it's more stuff.
That's fair.
There's more things wrong with Nids than just being like, Hail of Doom makes sure it can trigger on 5-ups.
Hail of Doom, your army's dead. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I just meant like...
Hail of Doom versus everything else in the game, except Nids.
What do you mean?
Which is more problems.
Oh. It's Hail of Doom because they killed Harlequins, right? So...
Yeah, killed Harlequin's dead. So Tyranids, biggest problem. Second biggest problem, that one sub-faction.
Yeah. Yep. It's rough because it's like those 2 right here, but third is like down here somewhere. It's really not as big of a
Harlequins
deal.
are not that far away.
No, it's like down here somewhere. Harlequins isn't even third. Harlequins are in the ground over there, mate.
Yeah, and they're tired out by Nathan's legs.
Yeah, they go down by his legs, dude. You gotta be careful.
Really, you got to be careful down by the legs. It's important.
Get stepped on, dude. It's
Yeah,
bad.
you might. All right, here we go. Asteriani, I found it. It just took me a minute.
All right.
Ugh. Hail of Doom Masterful Shots has a 61% win rate. Ulthway has a 48%.
It's just as good, by the way.
Bealton has a 31%. Basically, all of the Hail of Doom ones are positive, and all of the non-Hail of Doom ones are kind of fringy. There you go.
Yeah, that seems bad.
It's as in the words of last week's episode, it's very oof the way.
Oh god, dude. 48, huh?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lower order than AdMac.
And yeah, for the faction v faction, they're essentially being held back by a Tyranids matchup that's really bad with 36% win rate, and then Harlequins with a 36% win rate as well. They're also not doing great into Chaos Knights, according to the collected data. They have around a 30-ish% win rate into Chaos Knights.
If they don't play Hail, that matchup is ugly.
Yeah,
but that circles back around to the question: why are you not playing Hail, bro?
I get it. I understand. Just saying.
I'm just also going to say you should be playing Hail of Doom all day, every day. Just pick. You don't even have to pick another trait. Just pick Hail of Doom and be fine with it.
Yeah, start practicing. I mean, yeah, that seems good.
Yep. I mean, other than that, our other high-performing faction is Tyranids. I'm not going to really talk about it. All of their factions have positive win rates at this point.
Cares. It's just Tyranids, bro.
Even a faction that has a 0 for sub-factions listed has a 50% win rate.
Yeah, we just didn't bring one, bro.
I don't know how that happened.
Do you think that guy played without one?
He might have.
That'd be awesome.
You might be able to, frankly.
That's what I'm saying. If you were just like, yep, no army-wide trait.
We'll just
I've been sitting here like, what if I just bring OBSEC 5 monsters and +1 save and cover and sit on a dense board?
You could do it. I have
seems annoying.
I've taken Tyrant Guard and Behemoth and given them the +1 cover save thing, and then they just don't die.
Yeah, that sounds great. What if it's Execretes and dense?
There you go. That's the good way to do it. That's better. If you want to know more about the stats from this week and you want to take a look at some of the sub-faction data, or you want to break it down by meta, you can go to Cliff's Tableau. It is on the best of tabletop
in the description.
Yep, which we'll have a link to in the description of this YouTube video. Otherwise, it's on the Best in Tabletop Network main page as well for their website, where you can find other information on other shows as well. But it also includes the meta dashboard.
Yeah, we have a website now, don't we?
We do. We have a website and it has the dashboard on it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. As it has been for the last month. Tyranid's good. Everything else not so good. Harlequin's
Except for
dead.
Hale.
Except for Hale.
The Harlequins are dead.
And Harlequins are dead.
Took them out, put fusion pits on the back of their head, shot them dead, and now they only win 60% of their games.
That's right. They weren't even that good before, if you ask some people.
That 5.7 ratio where they were winning almost 6 times more games than they were supposed to.
I'm just saying, I went 10-0 as light Harlequins and won 2 events, and I'm currently a fat, powerful 4-2 with Tyranids.
It's just not your playstyle, bro.
Apparently.
Are we gonna talk about the playstyle myth, or do we not want to talk?
No, we've done the playstyle myth. Now I lead into it as a joke. We did that in like episode 3, man. I was like,
yeah, I think we hit it right off the bat. Like
I was like, I am angry about this, and I've not had a platform in a while. So
that's like every episode, NS. You treat every episode as if you haven't had a platform in years. You're like, wait,
can we talk about the Kratos then?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's do it. Let's talk.
What was they thinking with that? It's so bad. Why? Why release garbage, right? That's what I don't understand. Why put something out that just does nothing and sucks? What is the point? I don't...
Well, they released Ultho, eh?
Yeah, but they have Eldrad, which is fine, right?
Ultho, I've got 4 traits. They're all worse than Hail of Doom.
Yeah. Listen.
Kratos at least looks pretty. One of my local discords was like, man, this model is so great. And look at the rules, they're good too. And I was like, I can't deal with this today, guys.
Bro, they could have just not gave it rules. It would see the same amount of play. Like, cut it out.
It's a Volkite Contemptor with a multi-belt. No
and then the Chaos players are mad that they don't get the garbage to play with.
Bro, please leave the garbage over there. It's gonna be a real problem when I start playing Chaos and I have to coach garbage like people away from like eating garbage. I'm gonna have to be like, get out of the dumpster. We don't need the jank. We gotta
be like a nutrition expert that only works with people who are like rabidly obese.
Yeah, come on, guys. We can figure this out together.
Look, guys, there is vegetables in core berserkers, guys. Just go and eat them.
Yeah.
Stop playing Kratos and Venom
Stop
crawlers.
Summoning demons. Damn it.
Hey, you back off, Furies.
Why?
Because they can score you batters in your knights lists.
Man, I want to wonder how this is going to work when we record in person. Like when I record in person with Anthony, is he just going to like get really close to my face?
I'll get close to you, yeah.
And I'm just going to have to sit there and be like, yeah, this is just Velociraptor style, like holding both hands out, being like, no.
All I'm gonna say is that until you've experienced the sheer joy that is picking Warp Ritual and a boar and summoning a Herald of Slanesh,
you can't do that. It's illegal to do that.
No, I mean like in separate rounds.
Oh, okay. I was like, that's
not in the same game.
I was like, you can't select 2 secondaries from the same category.
No, it's like you play Grey Knights round 1, and then you play against like Tyre round 2, and you're like, all right, a boar, Warp Ritual, let's do this by our powers combined.
Yeah. By our powers combined.
By our powers combined. Imperial Knights can score, or Chaos Knights can score secondaries.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about events, NS. Stop this nonsense.
But it's all just Tyranids, bro.
I know it's just
Tyranids. All Tyranids and just keep it moving.
All right, if somebody photoshops me a new image of Oops All Berries with Tyranids on it, we can choose to not talk about it.
No, let's do it. Okay, let's start with Bug Eater. We got 2 undefeated. So I'm gonna quickly run through how we're doing the Actually, no, I'm not. Nathan's gonna shell.
Oh, I'm gonna shell. Oh, I closed it because all right. Okay. So we're going to talk very quickly about Charity Hammer in a totally prepared shilling episode that I didn't even know I was going to do until this exact moment. So Charity Hammer 4, It's Time for More, is June 23rd through June 26th, and it is for the children. All of the money will be donated to Child's Play, which is a charity that donates games to children's hospitals so that kids can have something to keep themselves entertained when they are sick and receiving treatment at hospitals, which is generally, my experience working with a children's hospital, a pretty miserable time for kids. As of now, we've raised over $100,000 over the course of 4 Charity Hammer events, with $40,000 raised last year. The goal this year is to hopefully raise up to $50,000. There will be a GT event that both Anthony and I will be playing in. There will be 4 streams with a total of 80 hours of uninterrupted content, and the whole thing is free. You can donate if you want. You can watch if you want. If you do want to donate, you get entered into a raffle, and there will be a bunch of prizes that will be raffled off. Most of it is Warhammer 40K merch. There will also be larger prizes as well that will be announced as we get closer to Charity Hammer. If you want to know more about the event, or you want to look at the agenda or the main stream content, all of that will be on the Best in Tabletop or on charityhammer.com, where you can access all that information. And if you have questions about what is Charity Hammer, how we work with Child's Play, or any of the other materials, including the raffle, all the prizes will be listed. They'll all be on that website. And then 100% of the money that you guys donate will be donated to Child's Play. We don't keep any of it. We don't use any of it to fund any of the travel or any of the expenses that we do. If you want to donate prizes, you are welcome to contact us via the standard methods, and we can work with you about donating things for the raffle. You can also donate money in the form of meals to the stream and stuff like that as well. But again, all that's on charityhammer.com. Feel free to watch us be fools. There will be a best orc player. Basically, whoever wins will be the war boss of the WoW until next year. And there will also be a best Tyranids player event, where we'll also crown whoever will be the Norn Queen of the High Fleets until next year.
For the Americas.
It's true.
Yeah,
Not
I'll
our
hopefully be doing
fault.
some commentary for that. Unfortunately, I can't be there this year. But I'll be hopefully doing some commentary for at least 1 or 2 of the games on the Sunday for Charity Hammer. It's a great cause. I have donated every year to her. I don't think I've won anything in the raffle yet. I'm quite upset by that.
Woo!
Really bad at raffles. I've never won anything in a raffle in my life, and I don't plan on starting now. It's genuinely past the point of a joke now. If I ever win anything in a raffle, I'll be more hurt at losing the story than gaining the prize.
The only reason we run the event for the Americas is because David is so clearly the best Tyranid player overseas that we don't have to run one there.
Innes is like quietly crying into his own soup over there in the corner, just like little tears streaming off his face.
He's never beaten Vladdy. And I know you don't know who that is, but
well, you need to explain.
He's not mine. He's Polish. He's a Polish player.
Polish player. Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. So no, David doesn't get that prize yet.
Same.
Okay. Let's move on then. Let's do events. So we have 8 events to cover. I think 8 sounds right. So we're going to very quickly run through in a slightly different format to usual. We're just going to go through the undefeated list for majors and the top ones for everything else. And we're going to shout out some close as we go. We're not going to be doing the man reads list. I know we said we weren't going to be doing that when we started, and we kind of just fell into it. But we're going to be doing our very best to briefly summarize each of these lists. We might go back to doing show notes, so we can actually have a summary ready to read for next week. That might be a thing I try to do. Probably not, but we might. Yeah. So let's start with Buggy. This is Tau. I don't know Tau, so if someone else wants to do this one.
I can pretend to know Tau. Just give me a second.
Yeah, that's fine.
I know Tau well enough to help Seth, so
that's good. That's all we needed.
Ramble about something while I pull it up.
Okay, I hate Tau so much. They're so stupid. I hate plasma rifles. I'm so sick of them.
I played into, it was actually Seth's Tau that I played into, where I got to drop the Tyrannicide in and cook his Tau Empire Commander. And then I got to kill his Ethereal with Raveners bursting through a wall.
That
was quite a moment.
Did you
My follow-up question is, why on earth
I didn't win because I made a secondary choice mistake. So that was on me.
Sag. All right, we did it. We found the list. It's got Shadow Sun. That's a Storm Surge. Yeah! I'm already excited. Largely past that, it's a nice pair of crisis units, 3 individual broadsides, weird Remora stealth thing, and some Kroot. Not super crazy on that front. The Storm Surge is a real weird choice. Single Storm Surge is gaming for sure. That man was like, the data sheet's real undercosted. I guess we could just throw that in there at the cost of some CP. Whatever.
Is it a Borkan list? Does it at least make sense in that way?
Sir.
That
Yeah,
makes it
yeah.
even more
Power gimmick.
confusing and interesting. But I guess you get full rerolls on it, so it's very efficient.
Oh, you do if you stay still somehow, but that doesn't usually happen. No one puts stuff in vision of it, but yeah, I guess that could happen.
Could. I don't recommend it as a player playing against Tau. Don't
Makes
deploy
you
it in line
move.
of sight. Yeah.
Yeah.
You cut like a good chunk of their firepower out.
Yeah.
So any big surprises here besides Storm Surge on US terrain is good?
No, this isn't even like a weird US terrain thing. I think one is fine. It's just a weird choice. This is definitely a triple detachment, but Supreme Command, Super Heavy Augs, Bat is a weird list setup. Past that, there's nothing super super duper stands out. He's got Long Strike too, which is kind of cool. I don't know. This is a man that was like, I don't want to lose against Knights, and then proceeded to not. So makes sense.
Not losing the Knights generally a good sign.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
We had
why
an
you just roll
undefeated
Battle
Harlequins in second.
All right. What's the next event that we want to talk about then?
Do we have any undefeated lists that were vaguely interesting from that one? Oh no, we need to talk about the second place list as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say second place was Harlequins. Matthew Rund. He played light. He played with a Shadow Seer, a Troop Master, many troops and boats, 2 big bike squads, 2 5-mans, and then 2 individual Void Weavers. He started with a bunch of CP, which is interesting. There's nothing else that super stands out about this. This is very, very, very samey from light, except the main difference is that he invested in bike squads and did not take more voids. That's pretty much
He
it.
took almost every data sheet in the book.
Yeah, he did.
5
He
of
did
them.
not take Death Jesters, which are not great now, so that makes sense.
It's kind of nice to see somebody take something that's almost just the whole Harlequin army.
Whoa. Oh, this dude played mono. Sorry, I got distracted by the third place list because he played mono Prophets of Flesh with the Army Renown. And that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it's just max trust and 45 racks.
Yep. And he only has Incubi too, but yeah, it's not super wild. But yep, that is the list. That's true.
Right.
Okay, let us move on. What do we have next? We have the War Games Con. This was won by Tyranids.
Yeah.
Exciting. Yeah, War Games Con was Colin McDade taking the whole thing with a High Fleet Kraken list with
It's Kraken 15 Raveners.
Kraken 15 Raveners. Nothing really all that exciting.
Double Harpy.
Yep, double Harpy. Very
innovative.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only thing that's novel about it is that it's a parasite without the gestation sac.
It's not
Really
even
exciting.
that novel. Josiah Cook came second with double Tyrant, double Execrete, and a big block of Warriors in the line.
Yeah. But I think the list that's interesting here is the list from Joni Velasquez, who played Slaneshi Demons.
Joni is a hero, man. I picked him for my LVO draft this year.
It's true. You did.
Legend of Chaos, from what I understand.
Yeah,
he is playing 4 Keepers and Bellicor.
That sounds right.
Yeah, it's still a thing. It still goes real fast and punches you in the face real hard.
Yeah, as it turns out, getting punched directly in the head sucks. And sometimes that army does it in a way that you can't really do too much about.
Just a little bit. Just sucks just a little bit being hit by, say, Shalaxi and Bellicor and several combat-oriented Keepers of Secrets with exalted traits.
As opposed to
Shalaxi that does flat 6 damage against characters.
Yeah.
His loss. Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what she does.
Against characters only, yeah.
She's D6 or flat 6 against characters.
Why?
That's what she's meant to do in the lore. She hunts bloodthirsters.
Well, I understand her lore purpose. It's just a wild,
It's a wild change of profile, isn't it?
Sometimes you just want to charge that Neurathor.
Sorry,
just wait for them to fail
only
a single saving throw.
It's only on a 6+.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and only against characters?
Yeah. It's not actually that good. But...
That is powerful chaos rules right there. On a 6+ to wound against characters.
Damage 6.
Your characteristic that's already a D6 is just 6.
Hey, do you know what?
missing the
at least fun.
all-important Blood Moon qualifier, though.
Yeah,
Only on
it's
the Blood
not-
Moon can this happen.
That's true.
Okay, that is it for the WarGamesCon. I would say that is a fairly standard event. Tyranid won it. Who's shocked? Raise your hand. Raise your feet. The London Open was a 5-round event that had an additional top cut. This was won by David Gaylord, who came off the back. I believe he's on a 25 win streak and now top of the ITC. So power to him.
Oh,
Big
yeah.
energy. Who's
Oh.
playing double Harpy, 2 Pixel Warriors, and a Hive Tyrant. It's just data sheets, bros. It's just data sheets. It's data sheets in front of you, and then it goes, you can't deal with this, and then you can't.
Why
deal
do
with
you
it.
take all the Barb Stranglers? Is that just anti-Eldar tech at that point with
It's
the
just-
blast?
It's 15 points for 3d6 shots instead of 9, and they're better strength.
Yeah, I guess for me it's just like the AP1 is so bad into Marines. The only thing I
Yeah.
can think of it being
Have a lot of
But
trouble
if
in
your
that
plan
matchup.
for Marines is to lose to them, and you needed 6 Death Spitters to deal with that, you got other problems.
it's fair. It's fair. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just
there are
wonder why
36
pay more
range
points.
as opposed to 24.
Okay. I just wonder why pay for it.
Because range is good.
Yeah.
It gives the list a bit more turn 1 threat that it kind of lacks otherwise. I will quickly shout out Nassim, who played triple Redemptor and a Contemptor. Nassim has been playing this list like non-stop for a year.
He's
and
committed.
He is committed to going 4-1 with it, and we are very
That's
proud.
right.
We are proud
That's-
of Fuccini.
That's right. That's our champion, Forcini.
4-1 Chini.
Yeah. No, it's Forcini, but like the first I is a 1.
So remember, guys, don't forget to raise that banner and
Raise
run a
that
drop
banner
pod.
and don't pair Grey Knights.
And don't listen to John Lennon. Drop pods are great. My teammate Brian also went down and played the blocking tactics Tausept list. He lost only, I believe, to Tyranids, and that list is still really cool.
a lot of fun to play against too.
It's definitely not what you expect Tau to do. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that much.
So I'll just quickly anecdotally, in our group chat at the end of day 1 when he was 3-0, he was like, hell yeah, this list is amazing. And then he played Custodes and had to charge Custodes, and he's like, oh no, this list sucks.
Yeah, charging Custodes is sad.
Yeah, charging Custodes to turn on OBSEC that they don't care too much about. It's just like, I've charged them with this 3-man Custodes, charged this Custodes squad with 3 dudes. And they have 6 and they've killed 2 of mine.
Yeah, not great. Well, you really shouldn't end up in a scenario where you only have 3 left, but yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so that was the one game he lost, unfortunately. So that is the London Open. So that is our majors. We are now going to go into quick hits, where we're only going to talk about the winning list and anything that's really cool extra. So we have the Bluff City Open, which is 52 players in Tennessee.
And that was won by Seth Piper playing Black Templars. Other than that, I just like taunting Sisters players, and Jeff Bodine took
Well, Seth
Sisters.
is on a fairly standard double Redemptor, Blade Guard, Eradicators, Outriders, all the like little chaffy stuff. Holy Orb, one of Squad of Outriders is actually kind of cool. That's the Fight Last on a 2+, which is actually fairly interesting and useful. Other than that, nothing that I would describe as super innovative here. Double Chaplain. I didn't really see. There was a 5-1 Death Guard list here, so power to the guy
Ooh.
who's running a 230 point squad of Plague Marines in a Chaos Rhino.
Jesus.
Just bolters as well.
Yeah, 230 and then a almost 200 point squad of Plague Marines. You know, just funsies.
Yeah.
Why not?
Dude has 400 points of Plague Marines and 160 points of Rhinos.
That's wild. He did that while playing like 400 points down.
Yeah, he did do the champions 5-1 though of losing round 1. So
Ooh.
Powerful.
Well, now I gotta
So
see who we got paired into round 1.
congratulations to Joe Putman.
Putman. What did you do, Putman?
He played William Lewis round 1, who was playing Venatari and 5 Dreadnought Custodians, or 3 Dreadnought Custodians. So yeah, that makes sense.
What?
What?
Look, man, the US is a weird place.
Where did this happen?
Memphis, Tennessee.
All
Yeah.
right.
At the
Now
Bluff
I
City Open.
understand. Everything's fine.
Okay, we have the Breaking Heads Cup 2 in Berlin. This was WT scoring and won by Tyranids. breaking. This is also on BCP. All the lists for this week are on BCP. I don't think we had any that were hiding on Tourneykeeper. This
Not this
event was
time.
won by Michael Jemica on Tyranids. It's 2 big bricks of warriors and Leviathan, and then double hive tyrant, double winged hive tyrant.
Ooh.
I know, really splashing out.
I think
Um,
my favorite non-Tyranids list is that Yanari list in 8th place. That's always kind of fun. I don't know.
Yanari.
Who's bringing
Ooh.
Yanari to stuff and then going 4-1 with it? Apparently Dennis Muller.
Dennis
is.
Muller, yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty. Yeah.
Well done, Germany. You let Yanari go to just let Yanari come 8th at your 50 player tournament. Come on, guys. You're in our pod. You're meant to be doing better than this. The Summer Showdown GT in Ohio. So I'm sure Anthony will have strong feelings on the Ohio meta shortly.
I don't know if they cross into Frozen North territory or if they're Death and Glory boys, so I don't know.
Are we burying Frozen North? Is that what we're doing today? We're going to bury them in permafrost up north?
Yeah, what is Dead May Never Die, Nathan?
No, that's fair enough.
Okay, I believe this was won by Joshua Minich. That sounds right. It's Tyranid, so it's probably right. Yep. This is a Kraken list. I bet it's got a bunch of Raveners. Yep, it's got a bunch of Raveners.
I know him. He's really nice.
Good. Let's not. 9 Pyre Wars, 16 Raveners, and a Tyrant, some stuff.
This
Does
is
he
one
also
event.
have things?
Stuff and things.
He's got stuff and things. He's got a Turd of Prime and Tyrant Guard and Zoanthropes and Pyrovores and Venomthropes and Warriors and Hormagaunts and
Hormagaunts?
Hormagaunts.
10 Hormagaunts.
What?
Caleb Nelson came 3rd here with all the multi-metas Bloody Rose list. 12 Retributors.
Yeah.
Go on, lad.
This is also where we have 2 Knights lists in the top 5. We have a Chaos Knights at 4 and then an Imperial Knights at 5.
Big boys.
Hell yeah. Chunky lads. With all their starting CP that they won't have.
Wow. Innis just casually has to dismiss the Knights players. Look at the success you had. It won't matter, Knights players.
They'll have more than most.
Well, that guy started with 6, so
he won't.
He will.
His list will change.
enjoy your -2.
That actually brings up an important point that is always kind of like when you hear about dramatic shifts to the game. It's okay for your list to not exist anymore. You may, in fact, need to change it.
It almost certainly won't. Let me just be the bearer of bad news. Your list is going away. Enjoy.
And that's okay. You can also be sad about it.
And that's okay too. But
nobody cares. We all have to change.
Yeah. If you're going to complain about it, just direct it to Nathan's DMs.
Yeah, you can. If you join our Patreon and you join our Discord, you can send me messages about how much you hate the changes, and I will read every single one of them, but I will not respond.
It's true. He leaves you on red.
Anthony is fully aware of this.
He doesn't do it to me, but this is what I'm told. He had to stay somewhere for the open.
It's true. All right. What's the next event up on the list, Innes?
I have no idea.
Sure.
He's in charge, by the way.
The Factorum BAIU. I don't know what any of those letters stand for.
Factorum's by you guys, isn't it?
Yeah,
I don't know what this stands for.
It's in Sutton, Venny, England. I read that as Sutton Very England at first, and I was like, yeah, Sutton does sound very English.
You know the one.
I'm going to get an angry email from somebody about how Sutton, Venny, England is very nice and how I shouldn't make fun of it or something.
Probably not.
Yeah.
That one was the event that was won by Farsight, though, for Tau.
Yeah, no undefeated player at this one. So congratulations to the Tau player whose name was
James
on
Hobbs.
Nathan's screen. Yeah.
Excellent. Set up Spike there, boys. Great work,
Good
everybody.
teamwork. And then only other thing of interest was Jake Harding took Sisters to a 4-1 and took 2nd place.
Okay, but what was the Tau list?
The Tau list? Oh, fine. I'll read it.
Quickly.
I don't want to. I mean, it's a Farsight Enclaves.
So it's probably like 15 Crisis Systems and Commanders. All right, cool. We can move on.
Yeah, I was just going to count them real quick. Jesus Christ, Innes.
Is it 15 though?
It is 15 crisis suits. It does have Farsight leading it, which is
Is
kind
there,
of
is there
interesting.
30 plasma rifles?
Oh God, let me
Plus
count
whatever the
plasma rifles.
characters
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Oh, yep. There's 10 on one unit,
Yep.
5 on another unit, and then 10 on another unit. So only 25
And
plasma.
the characters.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
There's more plasma rifles than knights have units by double.
There's only one plasma rifle on a character in this one. Oh wait, there might be more. 1 second.
If it's
Is
not
it
at
a
least
double surge?
27, I'm
There's
off.
3, including a prototype plasma rifle.
That one ignores invulns.
That one.
We
ignores
were
the
playing
ball.
that in our
So yeah,
first
it's like
list.
30.
We were playing proper Farsight, so we could put the ignore feel no pains and damage caps on that as well. That gun running around is wild when it ignores feel no pains and vulnerable saves and is AP 8 on a 6 to wound.
Nonsense.
Totally unnecessary thing that puts eliminators on a 6-up save.
No, it doesn't.
It's just a joke. It is. Keep
No.
going.
I am keeping going. I'm putting you in your place.
Is that what's happening in this? Is that what
I
happening?
don't know. I've never known.
Well,
I know it
wait,
is.
we got an important question that we should answer. Nathan, it feels like you would know things about this.
Nathan, you've probably read the rules pack.
Yeah, I definitely haven't. I bought my ticket today.
Is there a rules pack?
Oh no, the guy that's supposed to be prepared doesn't know. What a fool.
I
Just
mean,
wing it, bro.
it's probably going to be
better than
like
you're used to.
it's probably going to be better than you're used to. It's probably going to be like Charity Hammer Terrain, where there's
It is
plenty
player
of
placed.
obscuring terrain.
It is player placed. I remember that much.
Okay, so forget everything you know. Win the roll-up thing in the middle that makes your opponent sad.
Yep, just put that L so you can put a little nook in there so you can just slide a model into that middle objective and just
Or
hold
put
it the whole
on
game.
it so your opponent has to stand in the open and die. One of the two.
Mhm.
Like,
One.
whichever one's better for you.
Make choices. All of the choices should be around whether or not you can ignore modifiers and put 45 plasma rifles into your
Just
opponent
put
or
that
something
poop
like
on the
that.
board. But that's player optimized,
Or-
organized, placed.
Or 3 storm surges.
Exactly.
Optimize
Or
your storm
build a
surge.
little castle around your storm surges so they can't leave, and then you won't have to make interaction with the game. But you can have all your storm surges for the entire game.
Can I just put all my terrain inside my opponent's deployment zone so he can't leave it with his storm surges?
Anthony would still lose to triple storm surge with his Drakari.
It's true. You can't win. You can't win if you don't have the terrain. Can I take their terrain away? Then maybe I have a chance.
Okay, that is going to do it for the events. Let's talk meta as a whole. Because, as some of you may have noticed, we are winding down on the nebulous meta-ness of the past. How long has it been since Tyrant? Like 8 years?
Like,
Is that
How
just
long has it
two-
been since
2 months, I
Tau,
think?
dude?
A
That's
month
when
or
this
2?
all started. When did Custodes come out?
That was
That was
around
the beginning of the end.
No, when did Drakari come out?
Nah, that was fine.
Drakari came out in March of last year. Was that right?
March
Yeah.
3. So it's been a solid 15 months of hell.
And then Adeptus Custodes and Tau came out around LVO earlier this year.
January, February,
Mhm.
yeah.
So you've had 5 months of Tau and Custodes, and then we've
Ooh.
had. Oh look, man! Alex got me an Oops All Tyranids box. Thanks, Alex Taus from Frontiers.
Woohoo.
Woo!
Other than that, we've had Tyranids for like a month or 2. I think it's 2 months now. I think they came out either in April or late March.
I just
It
want to
was mid-April because it was a few weeks after Manchester.
That sounds
I
right.
just
So
want to be
it's
able to
late April.
stop explaining the Flyrant to my opponent. I just want to be able to be like, this guy's got the Reaper, and have my opponent go, "Ugh, gross," and then be done. We got there so fast.
How have you
with
not hit
Razor.
that yet?
Yeah, I don't know. It still happens all the time. We got there so fast with
I just start telling
Razor.
people, they're like, this guy's going to fail to kill your crisis suits and die. Like, that's all I have to do.
That's not what he does.
He's going to charge in, you're going to roll all the invulnerable saves on your shield drones, and he's going to stand there and die.
I have
Why do
had
they
that
still have
happen.
shield drones by the time that guy connects?
It's really annoying, but yeah, somehow it always happens.
I have had that happen, and it made me very sad. I mean, not as sad as having Crisis Suits charge my Maliceptor and take the last wound off of him when he had a 3-up rerollable on 1 wound.
No, I had that shield drones
And then he's
thing
looking-
happen.
He had a 5-up Feel No Pain too, so I failed. He got 1 wound through. I failed the first roll. I re-rolled it, failed the second roll, and then failed the Feel No Pain. And then the Maliceptor died, and then didn't have the freaking wherewithal to explode at least. I was real
Anyway.
mad.
Anthony, yeah, people in your bracket don't know what the Reaper does.
That's it. That's the problem. That makes sense.
You need to play against people who aren't hobbyists, you know?
I've never been 3-2. I was 4-1 at that point.
I thought you were
Sorry, what
3-2
was
with Chaos Knights.
which one was
back
the
when
event where you played
originally played
Jakari?
them.
What was your record in that one?
Oh no, I did lose quick enough to be 3-2 in that one. At one point, I was 2-2.
At one point were you 1-2?
No,
Okay.
I was 2-0. Rough.
So what else do we want to talk about while
Well,
we're
we were on a topic. It's been a while since the meta has been fun. What if
Yes.
it just continued not being fun and we lost all our CP as well?
Oh man. Let's
And
talk about the rumors.
Let's
dude.
talk about the Nephilim rumors because people care. And
That's
it's-
fair.
we're coming up to the end of a meta. Everybody knows Tyranids are screwed, and Tower's screwed, and Eldar are screwed, and Harlequins are screwed, and Sisters
Yeah.
are there and probably should get nerfed because it'll be funny.
Yeah, that's true.
I think they're getting
Space
buffed.
is
Like based
bad.
on the
This
mild
takes
rumors
place
I've heard,
down.
they're getting a couple points here and there reduced. So that'll be nice for Sisters.
Do you want me to read the changes then so everybody knows what we're talking about?
Yeah, go through the broad strokes of the things
Alright.
we've heard
So
from Nephilim.
what we know
Reddit.
about the Nephilim changes so far from Reddit is that for secondaries, there's no more to the last or Stranglehold. Those two secondaries have been eliminated from the game. Psychic interrogation has been improved, so now you generate a CP if you roll over somebody's leadership.
Well, you won't unless you're Tyranids, which case you get it every turn.
Banners no longer requires an objective to be completely clear in order to raise banners. So you can raise banners on something that your opponent has models on now.
That was pretty
Raise
good.
that banner, baby.
There
Get
are
'em.
other secondary changes. Titan Hunter got folded into Bring It Down, so now there's a Titanic profile for Bring It Down for scoring
It's just
points.
I think it's like 20 wounds is 4+ now or something like that.
Yeah, it's something like that. And then
That's
everything
beefy.
else that changed for secondaries is every single faction has had their faction secondaries updated. A lot of them have been updated to allow you to get CP. Like the Necron Noble one where you kill things has been updated. So now you get 3 if you kill something at range with a Noble, 4 if you kill them in melee. And if it's a character, you get a CP.
Nice.
It's like a good version of cranial feeding.
Yeah. So a bunch of the secondaries for factions have just had things tacked onto them where you generate CP for doing things that your faction is supposed to be doing. And then they capped some of them. Like Oath of the Moment, I think I read, got capped at 12 now. So you're not scoring above 12 with that. And then the bigger
Space
thing.
Marine's entire win rate.
Then the bigger problem, this is actually, I think, less of a problem for Space Marines in some ways, but more of one in others, is that everybody is now going to start with 6 CP. So before, when GW said roughly half was
Well,
the cut,
Start
they
with
said
6.
you're going to start with 6 CP, and then you gain 2 CP per battle round, 1 CP per player turn. So you gain a CP on each player's turn. And then Warlords and Relics now all have to be bought with a new requisition stratagem. So even your first Relic and Warlord trait will cost you 1 CP.
So you start on 4 if you want stuff.
Yeah, 4
Which
if you
you
want
do
stuff.
because you're playing
Yeah.
Warhammer.
Yeah.
So when they said about half, what they meant was a third.
Yep.
And I mean, it's bad.
Return to 5th edition, children.
We're shifting over to a game where basically all of your data sheets that you pick have to be hyper efficient.
And
So Space
stratagems
Marine-
are now a thing that you build into your list almost. Like you don't have flex
Mhm.
slots for stratagems anymore. Really.
You also don't have like this is what I said was almost very hyperbolic. I was gonna say this is like the death of nuance basically in the game. Like but it like all the cute flex tech stuff gone. Like
Oh yeah, you're not taking flex warlord traits and relics anymore. Like you're taking the best stuff.
No,
and
you're starting
only-
the game on 1 or 2, and at turn 1, you're hoping you don't get engaged in melee so that you don't have to spend your 1 to interrupt. Like, yeah, it is. This is a really bad change. It reduces player agency at both the list building step and the choices made throughout the game. You kind of just have to move your models around and hope that it goes all right because you can't really use a lot of the things that you normally would. This is getting away from the parts of 40K that I found interesting if I was not as invested in the hobby as I was right now. Based on the rumors that I've seen so far, I would definitely be looking at taking a step back. This stuff is real frustrating from my perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I wish it was like 8 starting, and then Warlords of Traits and Relics didn't cost 1.
That'd be fine. I'd be okay with starting with less CP, but this is just like nonsense.
It's too far the other way. We're effectively down 8 CP at the start of the game.
Yeah, and getting it back only
Real
matters
slow.
so much. Ironically, from what I think, this plays up how much of an impact an Alpha Strike can have, because you don't have the turns, like the CP, to use defensive stuff. And
Yeah,
if someone
a
can
lot
get
of the
to you
time.
early, you can't recover.
Yeah, a lot of the time recovering from an Alpha Strike is like burning 8 CP on turn 1 on a unit that you could protect, and being like, all right, this unit is going to do all of its cool stuff, and so is this unit, and then I'm going to recover from that because I'm going to push back. And now you don't get to do that because you physically don't have CP, so
Yeah.
you're going to have to rely on that. Maybe you're getting interrupted less if you're a melee army. Fine. I would rather they just made interrupt once per game. Different conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's
there
obviously still a lot that's up in the air with this. We don't know how easy it will be to gain extra command points from things. Like there might be generic secondaries that have more easy command point riders, so there might be more in the mid to late game, which is good. A more interesting mid to late game could be fun, because it can be kind of dull at the moment. Like a
I
lot of the
just
games
worry
where
that you have to get there. Like,
yeah, that's very fair. But then you've got things like Eldar rely on stratagems a lot to get really high damage output and their speed. Harlequins are kind of fragile if they don't have a lot of CP available to do things like fire and fade, jump back into boats. So there's definitely an amount of fragility coming back into the game from not being able to use all your defensive tools and all your offensive tools.
I don't.
You're not going to see like 2 Hive Tyrants anymore because that's going to cost you
That
so
does
much
die.
CP.
But it also
Like-
it punts factions that are bad, right? Like you don't see 2 Hive Tyrants, which is cool, but also war bosses, right? Like,
Yeah, but
that's an issue.
Yeah, that is an issue. But I
You
mean,
might
war
start
bosses were.
seeing
I mean,
more-
orcs didn't run double war boss because they don't have any stratagems to use CP on anyway.
Right, but sure, but like they just like physically cannot kit more than a second war boss. Like if you take 2 war
You could do
bosses,
2 in Gaz,
but then one of them's not getting a warlord trait.
or you
relic.
could do Mozrog, Scragbad. It doesn't need
Same
anything.
thing. I mean, you sure you
But
can.
you're going to see more special characters is really, I think, what Innes is trying to say there.
Yeah,
like,
because they
you're
have
gonna
like built-in relics, but it's not like they get
Yeah.
their warlord trait for free.
We don't.
Well,
know
some of
that,
their warlord
do we?
traits are
Like we don't
terrible.
know how all of this stuff interacts.
This is
Yeah.
true. We only still have like a really small vision of what the rules are. We don't know what all the secondary changes are to all the
We
faction
don't know what point changes
secondaries.
are, so it's hard to. Yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah, we're
to
definitely
tell.
working off not the full picture, but nonetheless.
Right.
But I am so upset that I'm going to have to run battalions again. The only army, I'm pretty sure I ran through it. Like the only time I've ever played battalions this edition is when I was playing GSC because I wanted 6 troop slots. Like every other army is like patrol vanguard or double patrol. Fuck
Yeah,
that.
double patrol. I mean, I played Drakari, right? I was playing only patrols for ages. So,
Yeah.
like that was pretty hot, but like
Drakari getting a little buff from this change, really, when you look at it, like RSRs and triple patrol refunding CP. I mean, it's bad on some ends, but it's not going to affect you as much on the back end.
Drakari rely on their combat characters to win games. So you don't have an option. Like for example, for like Blood Angels list writing, I can pull out warlord traits and relics and not have it impact the rest of the list much. I don't have that option in Drakari.
I mean, you end up probably having to tilt more into something like a real space raid instead, which means you can't play Draz with a warlord trait.
Which is trolling.
Mm-hmm.
Don't play
I mean,
those specials.
You're coming out not as potentially damaged as some armies are. Like, what about Adeptus Mechanicus, who basically have no access to anything?
I think they're fine. Like
You
if
think
they a lot of
Admech is
time,
okay?
yeah, because a lot of time Admech start the game on like 5 or whatever. Now they can move a warlord trait or a relic. They make half their strats free turn 1 anyway.
Yeah, but you remember that they're going to be down 8 on where they're starting.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But
You're going to have to cut 3 of them to start at 0.
I guess that's fair. But they don't like a lot of the stuff that I've seen in Admech lists anyway is like nice to haves. You don't need a bunch of that nonsense.
That's fair.
Yeah, but they're also not doing well with it. So
That's fair. I mean, yeah, they're broad spectrum not doing well, but I think that's more of an abandonment issue, like we talked about. But still, like I don't know. I think they're in a better spot. Like armies that can make things free or get multiple a turn or do both.
so
Imperial
knights,
Knights, are looking at being in a good spot.
Yep.
Also, with
Oh.
the death of Stranglehold into the last, boy, take another look at them book secondaries. Like,
Oh God, yeah. So they're like, Tyranids don't have book secondaries. Don't
yeah,
make me
that
do
part's
this.
not great.
Don't make me relook at these. I don't want to. They all make me sad.
Yeah,
And
if you have a
Genestealer
good-
cults
if you
sitting
have
there
a
looking
good-
at Brood Swarm real hard, like, I have to run so many bikes.
If you have good battlefield supremacy ones, especially, those aren't just like in the garbage. No.
No, I'm already advocating my new game plan. Raise 5 banners on turn 3 and score line breaker on your opponent's corpses.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Your
I'm
opponent
going to
can't
get 60,
score. They are
60
dead.
foot line breaker by being in your deployment zone with your entire army dead, and I'll raise all my banners on turn 5. Or turn 4 and 5.
Whenever it's got to happen.
It's true.
It's going to be the game plan. That was the Space Marine game plan for a while. I'll take banners because I'm fairly confident I can kill you all. By
Hey,
turn 4.
you should die.
So you just raise the banners on turn 2 on their objectives now while they're on them.
Yeah, that's bold. That's a baller move. Can you raise the banner while there's a different banner on there? How's that work?
Why not? We're going to
You might need-
compete.
I'm going to
Whose
guess you need
banners
to
is
control.
more here. You probably have
I'm
to
going to
control.
guess you need to control the objective.
But what if you're tied?
But
Just
the
kidding.
banner
I'm-
will still be there because the banner comes down at the end of or the next phase, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
There could be two. There
I'm
could be.
just imagining like Genestealer cults. I'm going to use my 3-inch deep strike on this squad of guys, and they're going to raise up and raise a banner on your home objective.
Rise up. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
The
yeah.
rebellion looks like graffiti, not actually take over.
Yeah, all I need, just give me like 1 point off of acolytes, guys. 1 point off acolytes and 1 point off hand flamers, and we'll talk. We'll
Yeah.
talk. I'll play 120. Watch me.
Yeah. It could be worse. Instead of being AdMech, you could be Chaos Demons and start the game with like -9 CP or whatever.
Yeah, paying CP for all of your exalted traits in the process.
the only army still stuck with paying CP for that shit.
Yeah.
I
That'll be a
guess- I
10-point
guess,
upgrade
uh,
in the new book, but until
Well-
then, we
It's a 10
Imperial-
point upgrade. Now it's 1/6 of your street game resources.
Yeah.
It's a good job all their relics and warlord traits are shit. You don't have to buy Bellicors now.
That's
Yeah, I guess-
true. Oh, you wouldn't want to because why would you?
Because it sucks, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't really affect hail that much either. Like you lose maybe your spearhead essentially that people were using to fit in a bunch of.
Yeah, you might
bikes.
have to run like 3 squads of rangers now instead of running
Yeah.
one
like,
of
you
those
might
squads
cut
of
a squad
bikes.
of bikes, or you cut a squad of sweeping hawks because you don't need to the last anymore.
Right.
And you put in 2 squads of rangers or a squad of a squad of guardians or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I'm sad that To the Last is gone.
I'm sad that the last is gone from a perspective of I really liked scoring 15 on turn 3, but
Man, my favorite is when people took that against me.
see, I'm
Please
actually
love
kind of
that.
glad it's gone before we could play because I would love to take the last against you and just make you eat your fucking words.
Go ahead. If
No,
Nate
it
eats
depends
something,
on
it's
Nate.
going to be your To the Last.
It would have been so much fun. So much fun to kick your ass with To the Last.
I mean,
Maybe.
you do know that the rules will still exist, as in like they don't disappear from the zeitgeist of knowledge, right?
Yes, they do.
You can still when
That's
you
what we'll do,
see
and
each
it's-
other
I'll
at
come-
WTC.
I'll come in on the Saturday the week before. We'll play a Nachmund game, and we'll go from there.
No, we won't. Don't lie to yourself.
I'll be impressed if we play a game at all and don't just go drink.
The game will be my beer is my To the Last. Oh no, Anthony drank it. I guess I
can- we
still
can
lost
play-
last
We
point.
can play shot a kill point.
Oh.
Every time you lose a unit, you pop a C. Oh,
I both drink less and am smaller than you. I feel like I lose that match.
There we go.
That's
I
the
can hear you.
point. That's the point.
Yeah, we'll play shot a kill point. It's fine. Every time you lose a unit, you take a shot.
If you lose your To the Last, you have to drink the bottle.
Is that a
We
threat or
wanna-
a promise?
Depends on who's buying the bottle, right?
Do you want to take our break real quick then?
Yeah, we should do that. We've devolved.
Yeah, I think we've denigrated to the point where we're not talking about anything reasonable anymore. Okay, we're going to take I'll say a 12-minute break. I feel like having a bit of banter with the chat today. And
Oh
we'll be
man,
back
that
at
means
half
I can go
past.
make tea.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll be
nice.
back
I'll
at
be
half
right
past. If you are here on the live stream, I'm going to do the shilling stuff. Nathan, you can feel free to bounce. That is the end of the main show. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for episode 17 of 40K Fight Club. This has been Fixing the Tyranid Stranglehold. As always, you can watch the show back on YouTube if you missed the start, You can also catch us on all good podcast feeds. If you enjoyed the show, please do leave a like, a comment, a subscribe, hit the bell button, I think is the notifications one. You can check the feed. We try to post when we're going live next, but it doesn't always happen, but it's always 11 p.m. That is the best way to catch the bonus round. The other way to catch the bonus round is to become a YouTube member. You can also support the show by checking us out on patreon.com/bestintabletop, where you can pay a nominal fee and you get to join the Discord, which gets you access to all of the lovely people like Curie, Cliff, all the other hosts of all the other shows, even the Frontiers guys, unfortunately, are there. Yeah, it's a really good place to be. You may get press ganged into being a podcast host. That's what happened to all three of us. None of us planned this. It just kind of was forced upon us. Yeah, that has been it for the show. So we're going to take a 10-minute break. We'll be back at past for everybody who's here on the live show. If you are not here on the live show, you can check us out on the YouTube members feed. Otherwise, thank you very much for being with us. We will be back same time, same place next week. Talk about even more tournaments, including the Atlantic City Open, which Anthony is attending. I'm going to stop talking to a wall now, and we're going to take a quick break. And one last thing, Charity Hammer, do remember it. Go back and listen to Nathan's spiel on it. It's a great cause, helping out kids who are sick. Being as a child who was very sick myself, I was too young to have to deal with anything like toys. But yeah, I was like 2 when I was last in hospital as a child. That was lucky that it ended soon. But I couldn't imagine being stuck in a hospital for days, months as a kid and not having anything to do. So yeah, please do support the cause. It's a great cause, and I'm really looking forward to being part of it.